Dirk Nowitzki or Kevin Garnett. To those of you who are too young to remember who these players are, let me give you a quick breakdown. Dirk Nowitzki was about 7 feet, and he was one of the first big men to shoot the deep two or the three-point shot. In an era where power forwards were known for really shooting the mid-range game and posting down low, Dirk was kind of the innovator of that, not playing your back to the basket type player. You have to remember, of this time, the power forwards, guys like Garnett, Tim Duncan, Jermaine O'Neal, Amari Stoudemire, during this era, they were more of mid-range game players or back-to-the-basket players. Dirk was one of the true, I'll extend the ball out to the deep two, three-point line and shoot the deep shot at being his height. In today's NBA, a lot of guys do this, but you have to remember, when he was doing this, he was kind of the innovator of that 6'11", 7-foot type player to shoot threes. There were not very many power forwards shooting the deep three ball like that. You'd had guys like Wallace, to a lesser extent, Rasheed Wallace, but Dirk was one of the first true bigs to shoot that deep shot, Dirk Nowitzki. So Dirk, obviously, he won a championship in 2011 when they beat the Miami Heat. He did go to the NBA Finals in 2006. That's when the Heat faced the Dallas Mavericks then. They were up 2-0, but then Dwayne Wade just turned it on. Ended up winning Finals MVP, where he averaged about 34.7 points, about 7.5 rebounds a game. And, Dallas lost in 06. But he comes back in 2011, and they beat the Miami Heat with a team of LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. And he didn't really have any other all-star caliber type players. You had Jason Terry, who was really good. But if you look at Miami's second best player on paper, Dwayne Wade, versus Jason Terry, that's a big difference. Jason Terry did show up big, though, in those NBA Finals. He averaged around 18 points a game. But he had an old Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd was already 38, past that 30-year-old prime that he was in. And they beat the Miami Heat. Some say, and I'd have to agree, he probably had the hardest road to the NBA Finals that year. They beat a really good Portland team with Brandon Roy and LaMarcus Aldridge. Then they swept the Lakers, who at the time were the back-to-back NBA champs. Okay, so that's a team of Gasol, Kobe Bryant, Lamar Odom, Andrew Bynum, Derek Fisher. And remember, they just went back-to-back and they got swept. And the Lakers had just beat a really good New Orleans team with Chris Paul and David West. So this wasn't like, they're way past their prime. They were literally the back-to-back champs, and they got swept. They didn't even win a game. Then he goes up against a really good young OKC team with Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. They beat them. Then he goes to the NBA Finals, and they beat LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. And people forget, in Game 2, if I'm not mistaken, Miami was up quite a bit, and Dallas had a huge fourth quarter comeback, and they ended up winning. So, obviously, that's Dirk Nowitzki's resume. MVP, he was the 2007 MVP. He's a Finals MVP. Tons of accolades. He averaged around 21 points, around 8 rebounds a game throughout his career. Definitely putting up big numbers, Dirk Nowitzki. Now, when we look at someone like Garnett, Garnett is also an NBA champion, although he had to leave Minnesota to go win a ring in Boston. But to be fair, he was on a Minnesota team that never really had a chance with the prime Lakers and prime Spurs team out in the West. The West, I don't know if young people realize how good the Western Conference was in those early 2000s. The West was stacked. They were stacked. You had the Portland Trailblazers, who were always really good. You have to remember, Portland took the 2000 Lakers all the way to Game 7, had an epic meltdown, and Lakers won. But Portland was very close to going to the NBA Finals that year. You had Rasheed Wallace, Scottie Pippen, Bonzi Wells, Arvydas Sabonis. You had just a cast of really good players. You also had the Sacramento Kings of this time. You've got Chris Webber, who's giving you 20 and 10, Mike Bibby, Peja Stojakovic, Vlade Divac, Bobby Phillips, I believe that's who was coming off, Bobby Phillips, who was coming off the bench. A really stacked Sacramento Kings team. Remember, again, they pushed the Lakers to Game 7 in the early 2000s as well. Lakers just came out on top. Then you had the San Antonio Spurs. You know, Tim Duncan, David Robinson, Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker. I mean, the Spurs were stacked, and they were one of the few teams that actually beat the Lakers and did go all the way. But, you know, the West was just so stacked. Then you had, you know, in that early 2000 era, you had the Detroit Pistons as well. You know, when Rasheed got traded to them, they became instant championship contenders, won their first year, lost in Game 7 to the San Antonio Spurs. But they were really, really good. So the West, I'm so sorry, they were East, but Rasheed Wallace, the point I'm trying to make here, he was in the West and got traded to the East. But the West was just so good. They were just so, so good. And so Garnett really never had a chance. There was a year where the Minnesota Timberwolves did get Sam Cassell and Latrell Sprewell, but again, they faced the Lakers, and there just wasn't the level of Kobe versus Sprewell and the level of a Shaq, what he was going to do versus Garnett. It's just Minnesota didn't really have a chance against that team. So he wins a championship in 2008. He is a 4-time rebounding champ. People forget about that. And I believe it was 4 straight years he was a rebounding champ. He obviously was a great defensive player. He was a rim protector, and he could also guard out on the perimeter. He had an excellent mid-range game, a deep 2 jump shot. Never really shot the 3, but if he would have just stepped out a little further, he probably would have so many more points. He was an All-Star Game MVP. He was an MVP of the regular season. And tons of accolades as well. Very different players. So if you're going pure offense, obviously you're going to probably go with Dirk. He's going to shoot the ball deeper. He can get a shot off just about on anybody. But if you're going to look at the defensive side, obviously Garnett is going to be better. Better rebounder, better defender. And to me, they're really arguable on who is better. Now, whose career would I rather have? Probably Dirk, because I would like to say I won with the team that drafted me, and I won as the primary guy. But if I'm going to say they're going to play each other one-on-one, I don't know if Dirk can guard Garnett, and I think Garnett would have a better chance of guarding Dirk. But again, I'd love to know in the comment section below, who do you think was better? A prime Dirk or a prime Garnett? And give me some reasons below why. And if you are a Dirk or Garnett fan, please leave me a comment, and I'll go ahead and I will send you some basketball cards of these guys for free if you're interested. Again, thank you so much. Please go ahead, like, and subscribe. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video. I know you're busy and your time could be spent elsewhere, so thank you for joining me. See you soon.